us again. Again, I'm still Fred. That's still the Hall of Fame nominee, two-time All-Pro, 14-year NFL veteran, 93
and a half
career sacks, the most ever by a nose tackle in the history of the National Football League, over 1,000 career tackles, back-to-back 100 tackle seasons for a nose tackle, which we talked about that last week. The one, the only, the pride of the fofo, a Bayou Bengal, the one, the only, man, the myth, the legend, Henry Thomas.
Hey, what's happening, Big Chief Nation, and everybody in between?
We'll see what kind of love we get today, just because I didn't get a chance to send out the updated link, so we'll see what happens. But in any event, look, we're going to talk some playoffs, and we're going to have fun with this. I know we're a little bit behind today, but that's all right. You guys catch the replay, so we won't take up too much of your time. But Henry, let's start with we'll get to our picks at the very end, but let's start with the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say, Henry, that is and we're not saying this because this is the show, but it is the premier matchup of the weekend when you look at the other three matchups. And, there's a good chance, Henry, that those other three games could be, two potentially could be, dare I say, uncompetitive. They have that potential. I think all games are going to be a lot closer than people think, but the marquee matchup, of course, is Chiefs-Bills.
It's the playoffs, baby. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be very close. I mean, all those teams got knocked out, Dallas. Just saying. Yeah. I think what we got left, it's going to be some competitive fire out there. I think the Baltimore and the Texans going to be an interesting game because, Baltimore, when they took their break, they were firing on all cylinders. Offensively, defensively, but the Texans have not only surprised some people, really surprised some people, but they are playing some really fundamentally sound football.
It's funny you mentioned that because I saw there was an article in, I think it was Bleacher Report today, talking about a AFC executive when asked if C.J. Stroud, if he'd have gone to Carolina, what kind of season he would have had. Would he have the same kind of success in Carolina that he had in Houston? The guy said no way in hell, based on the two situations. That being said, look, and when I say that I think the game, that there's this narrative that the games could be uncompetitive, is based off what the lines are right now, right? I mean, you've got a 9-point line between Baltimore and Houston. You've got a 9.5-point line between San Francisco and Green Bay, and then you've got a 6.5-point line between Detroit and Tampa Bay. So again, and look, not that Vegas is the end-all be-all, but to your point, Henry, I think these games are going to be a lot more competitive than people think. But I want to pose this question to you. I certainly think the Texans have a puncher's chance. I think C.J. Stroud, who they did not, or excuse me, they did. It was week one, so it was a much different team now than what C.J. Stroud was in week one. If the Texans pull off the upset, which them beating Cleveland to me wasn't that big of an upset. You beat Baltimore, that's an upset. Okay.
Oh, that's huge. That's
right.
Huge. Yes. That kind of reminds me back in 1987 when a lowly Minnesota Vikings team barely made the playoffs, went all the way to the championship game. So, they're working hard. They're saying the right things. They got the right fire. They got a great coach. I think they have a puncher's chance in upsetting Baltimore. Now, the weather's going to play a huge factor because they play at home in a dome. But outside in the elements, is a little bit different. We'll see how that pans out.
Be curious to see. I got to believe that they probably practiced outside this week since they did have the opportunity to have since we did have cold weather here in Houston. You got to believe that D'Amico took them outside because, look, and again, this all too well. I mean, you're a guy who was born and raised here in Houston, played your college ball at LSU, all right, and then you get drafted to go to Minnesota, which is literally the polar opposite of Houston, Texas when it comes to weather.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, not to say that there aren't guys on that football team on the Houston Texans that, aren't used to cold weather, but let's call it what it is. You saw a difference between the Chiefs and the Dolphins this past Saturday night.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing about the Texans team, is like you said, C.J. Stroud. He played outdoors in the cold. He's ready.
He did play at Ohio State. He did
Exactly.
play at Ohio State.
So I'm thinking it's not going to be as big a factor, but there are going to be some people out there that's going to have to acclimate to the weather immediately in a hurry.
And of course, you guys have a dome in Minnesota.
Yes.
What was I guess the first cold game you played in would have been what, Green Bay?
No, it was like practice in that August. I never knew it could get to 50 degrees.
But you guys didn't practice inside?
No. We didn't even have an indoor bubble till like my last 2 years there. That we actually had a facility that they built an indoor football area. We had a bubble, but it was maybe 40 yards long, and you couldn't punt, kick, or nothing in it.
Yeah, hard to work special teams when you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
A 40-yard bubble is not going to get your special teams unit sharp. So interesting. You guys played in a dome, but practiced outside.
Well, yeah, most of the time we practice outside. And
Iron Men.
Just what it is. Yeah, and we had to go out early because when the time changed, 3:30 way up north, it gets dark in a hurry.
So let me ask you this. If the Texans win on Saturday, of course, the narrative will continue. C.J. Stroud, the legend will only continue to grow. DeMeco Ryans will, even though he may not win Coach of the Year, they will be the talk of the league for 24 to 48 hours.
Correct.
What would that mean to Lamar Jackson?
Never thought about it. I think Lamar is going to play well. It just depends on what the rest of the team does. But for him to go out against I don't know. Maybe we should call up Joe Montana and them and ask him what happened in '87. How did that feel when the Vikings beat them in the second round?
Now, the only thing that he could come back and say, though, is didn't they come back and win a couple more Super Bowls?
Well, I don't think Joe did.
Did Joe not win any more Super Bowls? I thought they won one. Man, you might. Hold on. He did win 4 Joe Montana Super Bowls. Let's see here. Yeah, bro. He won 2 more after that. He won 1 in 89 and 90. That's what I thought. So it sounds like he got my guess is he must have gotten over it.
Yeah, he had to bounce back. So he lost in 87. He had to bounce back in 89.
But look, in all seriousness, though, if Lamar loses, and my boy Chris Hodge from Taking Vegas had him on earlier today, does he become the James Harden of football?
No, only because you guys want him to. He's an outstanding quarterback. He's gonna if it happens, he'll bounce back because he's drugged that team in every playoff that he's been a part of that team, that organization. It's not like he had a shit ton of help, a bunch of people out there, a team built around him. He's gonna bounce back. Kid's got a great head on his shoulder. He plays hard. He works hard at it. Just come back.
Like that team, but it wasn't like. But I would argue this though, and I'm not taking anything away from.
Yes, you are.
Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But what I'm going to take away from is your argument that he drugged them to the playoffs. I'm not saying that team is as talent laden as they are now, but Baltimore's always had a pretty decent level of talent. Maybe they don't have like those. Look, that defense has still been pretty solid. And that offense, the thing about the Ravens is they always find 3 guys that you've never heard of from, some Big Ten and ACC school that they plug in and, have a pretty decent run game. Now, has it been a little funky the last few years?
You don't hear from them anymore.
No question, right? And I think, I guess, but that's my thing is that, okay, now you finally gave him weapons. Now you finally gave him some pieces, right? So that's all I'm saying is, he needs to take that next step. This is, I think they're going to beat the Texans. I really do. I think the Texans are going to cover. I know we're going to get predictions in a little while. The Texans will cover, but I do think Baltimore wins. Because ultimately, I think they have too many weapons, and I just think they're too battle tested.
Well, the battle tested, like you said, and they got a lot of weapons. You said it yourself. He didn't have a lot before. They could always take two ice cream trucks and two ice cream truck drivers and the garbage can guy, put him in the backfield and have a run game. But yes, before he got there, I mean, after Flacco, they're looking for something. They found it in him. And how many times have they been in the playoffs?
I think they only missed it once when he got hurt.
He got injured. So how many? This is what, year 6 for him?
Yeah, let's see here.
6 or 7?
Let's see. Lamar Jackson. I'll tell you here right now there, Chief. Mr. Lamar Jackson is in year 6. You're correct. And then his playoff record, let's see here. Oh, hold up. Hey. All right, so this will be his 4th time in the playoffs. He is 1-3 in the playoffs as a starter. He's thrown 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So now, that being said, he has gotten better with each game. So we shall see what happens on Saturday. Like I said, I do think the Baltimore Ravens are going to take care of business, and then we'll see what happens the following week. We'll get to the Chiefs Bills here in just a second. Before we get to the other game, the San Francisco game with Green Bay, it looks like your boy Belichick is going to go to Hotlanta, or at least that's kind of the way it's trending. He's going in for his quote-unquote second interview this weekend. Vrabel just had his first interview, or is going to have his first interview with the Chargers. And then we're kind of all just sitting around waiting for what the Raiders are going to do. Because you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, okay, are you going to – I mean, you've satisfied the Rooney Rule. You haven't interviewed Belichick. You haven't interviewed Harbaugh. So what – if you're not – if Antonio Pierce is the guy, what else are you waiting on?
I don't know. What are they waiting for? Harbaugh?
I think they would have already had a chance to
interview with anyone.
Harbaugh's interviewed with Atlanta, and I want to say he interviewed with I don't know if he's interviewed with the Chargers yet, but I think that's been set up. But that's going to happen. Like I said, Vrabel's doing it tomorrow or this weekend.
So Harbaugh and Belichick went with Atlanta, and Belichick's on his second interview.
Going to his second interview. I mean, look, there's talent there with the Falcons, except for the quarterback position, right? I mean, they've got their offensive line is bad. They've got skill position players for days. I mean, you could argue if with the right system, okay, with the right quarterback, you could have a top 5 running back, top 5 tight end, and a top 5 to 10 wide receiver in Drake London. I mean, that's and your defense was halfway decent this past season, bouncing back from the last. I mean, you've been 7-10 the last 3 seasons, so it's not like Atlanta again is devoid of talent. There's talent there. It's just that you've had Arthur Turd Ferguson Smith as your head coach, and you've had basically they've been in the doldrums where after you got rid of Matt Ryan, be careful what you wish for, because you've been a hot mess since. You tried Marcus Mariota. We all laughed, we laughed him off the stage after watching him on Netflix. Desmond Ridder looks like he's got all the trappings of a 10-year backup veteran that you never hope has to play. And then Taylor Heineke, who's just an older version of Desmond Ridder.
They need a quarterback and a coach. So they're trying to pull Belichick in, and so it's only been. I'm surprised they haven't had a second interview with Harbaugh.
Unless Harbaugh
down the bill,
or unless apparently Blank wants Belichick. Blank wants Belichick. That's the hot rumor. That's his guy. He's swung and missed. Well, I mean, that's the thing that kills me is this. You and of course, look, I get it. Twitter's a cesspool. But, people, our own bitter Mike Babbo, God bless him, just poo-pooing Bill Belichick. I'm going to tell you right now, there's rumblings, yes, okay, There's rumblings that Andy Reid is considering retiring after this season. Okay? What I wouldn't give rumblings.
Okay.
What I wouldn't give to have Bill Belichick replace Andy Reid. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Look, if you give Bill Belichick Patrick Mahomes, you saw what he did with Tom Brady. Oh my God! Give me 5 years of Bill of the hoodie with 15. What? Oh my God!
Really? You think that'll work?
Oh, 1,000%. Look, you know Bill. Bill is he said before he left New England that he was open to giving up personnel control and working with the personnel department. Okay. That wasn't, here's where everybody got it wrong when he said that. Oh, that means he's willing to come back and no. He was letting everybody else that was watching, all you teams out there that are on the fence as to whether you should bring me in for an interview or not, and you're curious as to whether or not I'm going to want full control. There you go.
Yeah, I say that now until you get me there.
I think Bill wants a say, but I don't think after what he's been, Bill's too smart. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, Bill's not going out like a punk. I'm telling you right now. Okay. And what division is Atlanta in?
The South NFC.
Who else is in the NFC South?
Tampa, Saints, Carolina.
Tampa.
Am I missing one?
Tampa.
Tampa.
Oh, where did TB12 go after he left New England?
Really? I thought you just said he was smart. That's just petty.
Oh, you don't think Bill Belichick's petty? You don't think Bill Belichick's got a little...
I want to go and beat up on Tampa since they took... No.
Look.
I'm just saying that.
Go ahead.
I just think he's looking for the best opportunity. And it's like you said, the skill position set is already there. He can build up, get a quarterback and build an O&D line. They could be in contention. It's not like, their biggest competitors next year is probably going to be the Saints. I don't think Tampa's going to bounce back because I know you like Baker Mayfield, but
yeah, I do. But let's be real with who Baker Mayfield is. Let's put it this way: Justin Fields is going to get moved. Right? Don't we feel pretty confident in that? The Bears are going to draft a quarterback. You know what you have in Justin Fields, right? If you're the Raiders or if you're the Falcons, we've talked to Mike about it. We've talked Raider fans would love the idea of going out and getting Justin Fields. You gonna tell me? The question, of course, is going to be who's going to be his offensive coordinator.
So they're going to let Justin Fields go.
Who, the Bears?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so.
So he's at the end of his rookie contract, is what you're telling me.
He's got 2 years left on it.
Oh, he ain't going nowhere. Okay. They're going to hang on to him for the whole ride.
What's that?
They're going to hang on to him for the whole ride. They're not going to let him go. He's got 2 years left on his rookie contract.
Yeah, but why would you hold on to him when you draft another quarterback?
Hold on to him for trade bait.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you're not going to get any more. He's never going to be more valuable than on draft day. He's never going to be more, because if he doesn't play, then the longer he sits, the more his trade value goes down.
What is he?
And look, you got.
What the hell are you talking about? Fruit, vegetables?
Oh, absolutely. You can't. You're not gonna bring him. No team's gonna want to wait because you want him. You want him before the season starts. You want him before training camp. You want him before all your off-season program and all that kind of shit. You don't want to sit on that. And plus, if you're the Bears, there's no sense in bringing back Justin Fields and Caleb Williams.
So you thinking they're going to trade him draft day? That's what I'm hearing from you.
Look, when you're the Bears and you're a team devoid of depth and talent, and you tell me that I can move the number 1 pick, or I can, well, actually, no, I guess in this case you would be moving the number 1 pick, taking Caleb Williams, but I'm going to move Justin Fields for draft capital in what's a very, I mean, look, you saw it this year, Henry. How many different quarterbacks started? You know, I mean, what was the drop off in a number of teams this year where once that quarterback went down, that was it? Like that, you know, I mean, now you're on Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they went through what, 3-4 different quarterbacks, and kudos to your boy Kevin O'Connell keeping that. I mean, look, we want to, you know, we want to parade and love up our boy Kevin Stefanski for the job he did. Tell you what, Kevin O'Connell did a pretty decent job too, given the what you know, considering the team started out like crap defensively, then the offense finally got going, then your quarterback blows out his Achilles, and then you got, you know, the scientist or the astronaut at quarterback for a minute. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Something to be said for that. So my point in all that is, if you're the Bears, you just need too much help. And there's no sense in, if, you know, let's build this thing now so you can start putting pieces around the quarterback you take now. Of course, he's already come out and said he doesn't want to play for the Bears, so we'll wait and see what happens with that. But ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. Last thing on the coaching search. Are you surprised at all that the Cowboys elected not to fire Mike McCarthy and are going to go into another year with your boy as head coach?
No, I mean, he's brought them victories. He hadn't brought them a victory in the playoffs. But he's molded that team. That team is a good team. There's some little small things here and there that they have to do.
Right.
Got another offseason for it. I mean, I don't feel bad for the Cowboy fans, but you know, they're Cowboy fans. You didn't see it coming. Everybody saw it coming.
Look, the $1 million question. The $1 million question, except for you and me, yeah, we thought they were going to win. The $1 million question, of course, is: do you hold on to Dak? Is it worth holding on to Dak? You know, he's going to have he's got one more year left on his contract, and you just, I can't rationalize given. I mean, I don't know. I say I can't rationalize giving him big money, but I guess. Go ahead.
Does he become like Justin Fields? Does he become that trade bait on draft day?
Here's the problem. What are you going to get for him? And B, where are you going to end up draft-wise? What's your next quarterback going to be?
Well,
you know, because the Bears getting rid of Fields makes sense because you got the number 1 pick and you're drafting a quarterback. And you kind of are, you know, if you're a Bears fan, are you sold on Justin Fields? I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people. I mean, it's up and down. He's had that kind of career thus far. You know, 2-3 good games, 5 or 6 bad games. But look, with Dak, I mean, there's somebody out there that's going to need him that didn't play very well. Carolina could use him. Teams like that can be like, well, we can trade because they're going to have a pretty high pick.
Who's that?
I'm just saying. Carolina.
Well, Carolina ain't going to get rid of him because they've got Bryce Young.
I'm just saying he can bring him in and help him teach Bryce Young. I mean,
no, you're not going to get Dak. That's, you know, because you've already lost enough picks to move up to this deal in the first place. The problem if you trade Dak is that then what are you going to do at quarterback?
Get another quarterback. I mean, it's not like he was.
But draft wise, you're too far in the back. You'd have to move up. You'd have to give up too many pieces depending upon what you got back for Dak. And plus, I don't know I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the trade market would be like for Dak Prescott. I really don't. Well, I mean, look.
See, now that's a sad commentary right there because he's a starting quarterback for an NFL team, the America's team, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, what if we were to trade him? Yeah, but what will we get for him?
Look, I'm going to put it like this.
What's for your numbers?
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't give up more than a third-round pick for Dak Prescott.
Now, somebody give up a first-round pick.
Nobody in their right mind is giving up a first round. Look, I'll tell you right now, if I was the Cowboys and somebody said, I'll give you a first round pick for Dak Prescott, man, where's my travel guy? Where's Dak's agent? Get him on the phone.
Think of all the crappy teams that need a quarterback. Washington, they could use a quarterback.
Okay.
Let's just go through the list. New York, both of them. They'd do some kind of trade. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna put it like this.
Okay, take the Jets back because Aaron will be back this year. Aaron will be back.
Let me just put it to you like this. Okay, let me just put it to you like this. All right, with our boy Dak. Dak has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the league since 2016. All right, almost 30,000 yards passing, 200 touchdowns, 70 interceptions, a 67% completion rating or percentage. Henry Thomas. I mean, those are good numbers, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But then, by the way, in the regular season, he's got a career record of 73-41. But when we go to his playoff record, 7 games, 2-5. 2-5.
Tough.
So you tell me why I'm giving up a first-round pick. And, by the way, he'll be 31 in July.
I'll tell you why you're giving up a first-round pick. When's the last time you've been to the playoffs? At least he's gotten them to the playoffs, making them relevant. I mean,
Cowboys are relevant as is. Look,
they're relevant because all the asshole fans they got.
Look, if we ain't getting there's that. There's definitely that. All right, let's start breaking down these games and get these picks and get these folks on out of here since we're wrapping up on an hour anyway. All right, first game, Houston, Baltimore. The spread is 9. Okay. I think you and I are both in agreement on this. I think we both like Baltimore to win the game. Well, I like Baltimore to win the game, but I do like the Texans, Henry Thomas, to cover the spread.
I'm in agreement with you. As much as I'm a homer, and I love the Texans, you know what? Forget that. Texans cover the spread by winning. I'm going with the Texans.
Oh, you like you're taking Texans in the money line.
I'm a homer. I'm picking the Texans.
Yeah, you are. Would you bet real money on it? I think that delay answers that. Okay. Well, that's fair. That is fair. Okay, San Francisco.
That's real money. I'll bet you.
Now, this spread, I believe, is at 9.5. We'll go ahead and call it 9.5 for the sake of this conversation here, Henry Thomas. Let me just make sure.
It's 9.5.
49ers spread. And it is 9.5. 9.5 spread. I like San Francisco to win this game, Henry Thomas, but I like Green Bay to cover. What say you?
San Francisco is really hungry because they feel they had a chip on the shoulder with the way they lost the playoff game last year. They're really hungry. They're playing really good football. Green Bay is a surprise to everybody, but if you go back and break down the season game by game, you can see the evolution of how that team was getting better. And it's going to be funny to see, but I'm going to go with Green Bay on this one. Not because they're in the black and blue division back when I played. I like the evolution, and they're getting hot at the right time. And if they
like Green Bay to win,
if they didn't blow it all on the first, I think Green Bay is going to win.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow. That, my friend, is 49ers, Packers. You know what? Let's just, for the sake of this conversation, what's the money line on this game? Since Henry Thomas is feeling kind of salty today. Let's see. The money line is dun da da da. Green Bay plus 346. Show him what he's won, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Detroit, Tampa Bay, 6.5 point spread. I'm gonna keep the good vibes alive, Henry Thomas. I like Detroit to win, but Tampa Bay to cover.
I agree that Detroit's going to win, but they're trying. They're working really hard on playing more disciplined defense, and I think they beat the brakes off of them.
Oh, I like it.
Tampa will not win.
I love that you have it's all or nothing for Henry Thomas this week, and that's the way to do it. Kansas City, Buffalo. You guys already know where I'm going with that. What say you?
Okay, this kind of like a grudge match. Didn't Kansas City lose to them in the regular season this year?
They did, and they should have won, but they had that Kadarius Toney offsides penalty.
Okay, I don't think it's going to be that close of a game where they're going to have to rely on that. I think they win the game outright, so I'm going with Kansas City. Kansas City got a chip on their shoulder. Everybody's been talking bad about them. They're ready to put foot in everybody's behind.
Everybody's been talking bad about them. They're ready, and Pat Mahomes is an underdog. Like that hasn't happened very many times in his NFL career. So, apparently he doesn't know how to play quarterback on the road. Not very much, and guys look for that angle, and he certainly got it. So, all right. So I'm guessing your weekend will consist of golf Saturday and Sunday morning, and then football afternoon. No, what? What are we doing?
No, I'll be bowling on Saturday morning.
Oh.
Then football. Then Sunday will be golf, and then football.
Okay. So I was 3/4 right.
Yeah, you're close. You're close.
Close.
Yes.
Last
bowling tournament Saturday morning. Yeah, I bowled last night. Did well.
You're a regular. What was that guy's name in Kingpin? What was Bill Murray's character's name in Kingpin?
Don't know. Can't think of it. Seen it. Guy with the hairpiece. The hairpiece. Right.
Tell me that's not one of the most underrated comedic performances in cinematic history.
Bill Murray. Great.
The commercial that he does with the hot chicks with the single kids.
Yes.
When I wake up in the morning, he's already there.
Yes.
Hold on.
That was a hot one.
Kingpin, Bill Murray. His name was Ernie McCracken. Ernie McCracken. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the show today. Shout out to my boy Chris Hodge from Taking Vegas, and of course our boy Bitter Mike Babbo. He gave his picks. Did he give us his picks?
What is Babbo's pick? Because he was pretty hot last week.
Mike gave his picks last week. Last night. I want to say he took Houston to cover, but he had Baltimore winning. He took the Chiefs in the points. I think he took San Francisco in the points, and I can't remember what he did with Detroit and Tampa Bay. So in any event, we'll be keeping track of that, and hopefully you do too. For the one and only Henry Thomas, I'm still that dude, Freddie D, from H-Town, Kansas City, East Coast, West Coast, and all points in between. Good night. God bless.
Peace.